everybody. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about preparing for recruiting. Listen, recruiting is incredibly expensive right now and has been for quite some time. So we need to be treating recruiting as a project plan. Proper planning is so key. I'm going to give you two handouts that will be available the links will be available in the comments. So check them out. One is going to be a 2-page guide for recruiting prep, how to project plan out recruiting. And then another handout is going to be something that I usually require people to pay for, but it's a simple Excel sheet with a bunch of tabs on how to create a job description and then how to use that job description for interview questions and scorecards, and then also how to use that job description throughout the entire employee life cycle for employee feedback, aka reviews, including how to create SMART goals and other KPIs that should be part of the review and the person's job experience itself. So let's get back to recruiting and project planning. It takes a lot longer than you anticipate when you are recruiting. If you're frustrated that you're not getting any candidates, or you're getting the wrong candidates, or you've interviewed people only to find out, 3 interviews later, something that you should have asked in the first interview, this is for you. You want to make sure that your job description is legit. It's valid, reliable, it's not illegal, and that your hiring team is not asking questions that they shouldn't. Either they're illegal or they're irrelevant. So that means you have to prepare your entire hiring team, from the receptionist and the admin assistant that's helping you out, all the way to the hiring manager themselves who's doing the last and final interview. You need to prepare them and train them on how an interview is supposed to take place, what you can ask by law and what you shouldn't ask just because it has nothing to do with the job, all the way to what you absolutely cannot ask based on the laws in your country or the laws all the way down to your state. Remember, when you're creating a job advertisement, that a job ad is half HR and half marketing, and it should be treated as such. If you're just copy and pasting your job description into a job ad, you're probably, some candidates are probably going, okay, there's no personality in this company, so we want to sell your company culture. You can put part of your job description in your job ad. The maybe top 5 responsibilities that somebody does every single day. The knowledge, skills, and abilities, especially if it's a degree or a license or a certification that is absolutely required. We want to put that in the job ad too. But what you can do is just put part of the job ad in, or job description in the job ad, and then link the full job description somewhere. It could be a Google Drive, a Dropbox. Ideally, it would be on your careers page where they could say, okay, here's the link of the full job description. Let me download that and look at it to see, do I really want to apply for this job? And even if they don't download it, making sure once they did apply and you're like, yes, we're interested in that candidate, you send them the full job description. Now, the job description itself should also have what I call company values listed in it, which are expected behaviors of how everybody who works with you and for you should behave in the workplace. If you're adding that on later, then that means you're not asking about those questions in the job interview. So job behavior is very important, what they're actually going to do, their knowledge, skills, and abilities, their mental and physical requirements, the essential duties, the non-essential duties, or the occasional duties, which you may need to accommodate for because of a disability. These things need to be in the job ad, but again, it doesn't have to be outlined in the actual Indeed or LinkedIn ad itself. It could be linked to somewhere, a careers page, where the candidate can download that to say, no, I don't want to really apply for to that job because I don't like their company culture, whatever it might be. Additionally, you want to make sure, remember the project planning part, you need to pause your job ads, pause your interviews and say, who is going to interview this person? Who's going to do step 1? Who's going to do step 2? Who's going to do the third interview? Who's going to make the decision? Oh, and by the way, are any of those people on vacation in the next few weeks? Because if they are, that means we're going to have to pause the interview process and we may lose the candidate in that pause section. So making sure that all of your team members who are involved are not on vacation and or somebody else could jump in and they're prepared to jump in too. Of course, we always want to make sure the job ad and the job description is not discriminatory and that it has everything in there that is truthful and honest and transparent. Wouldn't it be nice as a candidate to go, yep, I actually think I could apply to that job. I have all the skills that they're looking for. I have the licenses, love their culture. Transparency, so important. If you were my client, you'd also have to have the compensation listed in your job ad. I won't work with you if you do not have a compensation that is listed, because if you're saying your company values are transparency, but you're not putting the compensation in your job description, or I'm sorry, your job ad and your job description too, well, guess what? Probably not very transparent after all. Making sure that they can go somewhere on your website or, again, Google Drive, Dropbox, to find out what are your benefits as well. Could just be a handout that they're clicking on, and that they can know in advance what are the benefits of this organization. So if I'm looking for health insurance and you don't offer it, then I'm not going to apply. I know that sucks that you're losing me as a candidate, but I'd rather you lose me before you even knew I existed versus after you've done 3 or 4 interviews and they say, peace out. I'm not going to work with you because you don't have those benefits that I'm looking for. The last thing I wanted to say, I want to say a lot more, but for the purpose of this video, the last thing that I do want to say is make sure that your job description is updated, it's valid, it's reliable, it's legal, it's transparent, and then creating realistic interview questions from that job description, from that job ad as well, so that everybody on the team is asking interview questions that are realistic and legal, and they're already determined in advance. So anybody that does have to jump in and sub for an interviewer is prepared in advance, that you ask these questions in the first interview, these questions in the second interview, these questions in the third interview, so on and so forth. You may want to get a committee involved, depending on the role, so that everybody on the committee knows, okay, what are we asking? What's important for this ad? What's important for this interview? And let's not be unrealistic and waste our time and money interviewing candidates that don't meet what we need. Preparing the interview team is so important. Creating a scorecard is what I also recommend. So one of those downloads is going to have a scorecard on there for you. With that said, I know this is a lot in a very short period of time, but please check out the handouts that I'm mentioning. They're free, no strings attached, and also download the job description format, which is in an Excel format, which can then turn into a scorecard, not only for interviews, but for reviews as well. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or go directly to my website, thehrlady.com.